On this day in history, March 4th, 1471, as part of the Wars of the Roses, and during the Battle of Tewkesbury, Edward IV defeats a Lancastrian army and kills Edward of Westminster, Prince of Wales. Included in the following is an excerpt from the 1944 edition of the Encyclopaedia Britannica, going over the history of the battle. The battle fought on May 3, 1471, closed the long conflict in England of the War of the Roses. The Yorkish victory at Barnet, less than 3 weeks before, marked the ruin of the Lancastrian cause. Tewkesbury was a last desperate venture. Contrary winds had delayed the passage from France of Queen Margaret, wife of the imprisoned King Henry VI, and with a small body of Lancastrian supporters, she landed in the west of England on the day of the disaster at Barnet. With her was her young son, Edward, Prince of Wales. The Duke of Somerset and other survivors of the defeated army a few days later joined her standard. Margaret wished to return to France, but was persuaded that the Lancastrian strength in the west was unbroken. Adherents were recruited from Devon and Somerset as Margaret struck inland towards the Welsh border, hoping to join forces with Jasper Tudor. Edward IV, at Windsor, gathered an army and moved westwards to intercept the invaders, who, after forced marches, found the city of Gloucester hostile and its gates closed against them. They struggled on to Tewkesbury, utterly exhausted. King Edward arrived the same evening. Somerset, commanding the Queen's forces, accepted battle next morning. The position chosen was a strong one, on the gentle slope where the broad Severn flows through the valley. It was much cut up by dikes and hedges, and declivities, through which small watercourses passed, protected both flanks. The town and the river were at the rear. As at Barnet, each opposing army was drawn up in 3 divisions, Edward commanding the Yorkist centre, and Richard, Duke of Gloucester, and Lord Hastings, the 2 wings. Little impression was made by Edward's attack, till Somerset, whose ranks were being depleted by the fire of the Yorkish artillery and archers, led the Lancastrian right in an impetuous charge on the king's line. It was not supported. Lord Wenlock and the Earl of Devon, with the Lancastrian centre and the left divisions, kept their ground. The charge failed, and Somerset was driven back with heavy loss. He suspected treachery, and in the subsequent rout was said to have cleft the skull of Lord Wenlock with his battle-axe for not taking part in the charge. Pursuing their advantage in the confusion, the Yorkists broke into the Lancastrian main position, forcing their enemy back to the town and Severn banks, where great slaughter ensued. A riverside field to this day bears the name of Bloody Meadow. Edward, Prince of Wales, was slain when crying for mercy. The Earl of Devon and other nobles perished. Somerset himself, with Longstrother the treasurer, and many fugitives gained sanctuary in Tewkesbury Abbey, from which they were forcibly taken and after summary trial were executed. Next day, Queen Margaret, who had fled into a neighbouring convent, was made prisoner. On the night of Edward IV's return from the victory, King Henry VI was murdered in the Tower of London. The death of Edward, Prince of Wales, on the battlefield left the English throne with no direct heir in the Lancastrian line.